Thank you. Good afternoon, and today is January 21st. It is approximately 7 minutes after 5. We are having the first towing committee meeting for January 2025. Yeah, 25. Wow. Okay. So we should have here S&S Towing. Can you raise your hand? S&S Towing, are you here? No? Republic Frame and Axle. Okay. Benny's Towing. All right. Okay. Is there going to be a representative here from S&S Towing? Do we know? All right. All right, so moving forward, this meeting has been called to address a few issues that the city has been having, and they continue to have. So we want to try to put an end to it. The last towing meeting we had, I thought we had put an end to these issues, but apparently we did not. Towing is conducted on a rotating basis, call basis among the three companies I just named for the entire city. Heavy towing heavy tows of vehicles exceeding 10,000 pounds are exclusively contracted to S&S, and of course, S&S Towing is not here today. So we've been faced with challenges primarily with the heavy towing of boats, RVs, and typically we have little resale value for these items, and we've been storing them at 900 Madison. We've had a lot of refusal from towing agencies to pick up these items. And again, to address the issue, the city has previously agreed to tow these types of vehicles to the city property for disposal currently. And there are over a dozen RVs, boats, and trailers at 11th and Madison. We need to have a quick discussion about that, and as well as we're going into 25 with renewing towing contracts and adding individuals to receive a contract. Okay? If your agency is new, have we signed in? Have you guys signed in? Is there a sheet? So who's all here? Okay, so Republic Towing is here. Harrah's Recovery. Who's Harrah's? Tom? Okay, see you. Okay. Mesa Towing. Got you. And okay, Jamal Rogers with Hitman Towing. Okay. All right. First thing first. These items that we have put at 11th Avenue cannot continue to stay there. They can't. They have to be moved. So we're going to have a special committee meeting on this because that is just the area is not conducive for that type of situation. All right. I would like to know from Chief what company has been refusing to pick up these larger items and why we have to continue to place them at 11th Avenue.
So currently, the boats and RVs classify as a heavy tow. So, well, the most of them, not all of them. So S&S is responsible for towing the majority of them when it comes to RVs and some boats. Now, you may not be aware, but the council previously agreed to allow them to take those boats to 11th Avenue. That was something that was agreed for in committee. We were there. And since then, they've just sat there. Since that has happened, they have not refused to come out because they don't have the expense of disposing them. This expense of disposing them now falls upon the city. And I don't see the city doesn't have a plan or hasn't had a plan in place for that. The reason, and you can ask the tow companies that I speculate these are difficult things for them to deal with, is because they have very little value. They're mostly fiberglass. The metal in them is hard to get to, and it's cheap metal, so it doesn't have very much scrap value. So now the city is stuck with, I think, approximately 17 vehicles between boats and RVs down at 11th and Madison, which have to be disposed of. But since that agreement was made with the tow committee or the council, there have been no refusals to tow them there. But now the city has to deal with disposing of them.
So with that being said, I think, did S&S finally walk in the room? Can you state your name, sir? You just walked in. Who? Yeah. Wesley. What company are you with? What company you with? Just residents? Okay. All right, so the main person that we're looking for heavy towing is S&S. Okay. So I'm going to give them about 15 minutes to try to get it. Were they aware of this meeting?
I did talk to Stan Senior. He had heart surgery. He was sending
Wow.
one of his sons. He said his son would be here. Say about maybe 1 o'clock.
Okay.
He said the son was coming.
Okay. Well, I would like to, can we set a date for, like, or set up a committee to discuss these heavy issues that are located inside of 11th Avenue in Madison? So we can discuss these issues? Because the city's have to, seems like the city's got to be responsible for getting rid of them.
Well, as the chief stated, Mr. Chair, that was the agreement. Of course, it wasn't this administration.
Right.
So the last conversation we had, there was an agreement, and I believe one of the tow companies indicated that they had the ability to get rid of the scrap or whatever the issue was. I was unaware that it remained a problem, but the agreement was that we would allow them all to tow to Madison, and then the city, I believe, was going to contract with this other entity to dispose of it. And I assume that never happened.
So I can attest to at least what's going on now, the previous agreement. So as we read the original ordinance or the last ordinance before the amendment, the original ordinance in which these three contractors, S&S, Republic, and Benny's received the contract, as a part of the contract for exclusiveness between those three entities, part of it is we understand that some of these tolls for the boats and the scrap yards were like an offsetting cost. We understand that they're not going to be, or the city understood that it's not going to be a profitable margin for those entities, but understanding that the rest of those tolls, whether it be vans, cars, et cetera, there is going to be, of course, some loss with the RVs. So I know that then there was another meeting held, and I was brought up to speed on, and that's where the amendment was approved, and the amendment is where it is now. However, thanks to Attorney Williams, we know that at some point someone was supposed to contract, but it hasn't happened. And part of it is that now the city is in violation ourselves because we have 20 or so vehicles and boats that is being stored inappropriately in an open space on city property. And so we want to at least try to come to a solution as a group, work together by way of the city and our partners, and to try to figure out what solutions can you offer us based on your resources and other individuals in the room that may have options. Some of the concerns that we've heard from citizens is that because of this same concern of not towing these things, we've had people just dispose of boats in random places in the city. And that's not acceptable to our residents. So we want to make sure we're getting that. And part of the frustration is that now we have to then go and get these boats, and it's only going to get worse if we don't address it. And so this is where I believe that, Councilman, if we may, it's just a dialogue. And again, we won't solve everything today, or we may not, but as we proceed forward, how do we get to a place where either we provide whatever that entity was that was supposed to contract with so that we can do the research, provide it to Attorney Williams and the law department to work together to try to work through that agreement so we can at least dispose of the ones we have and then come up with a plan to resolve so they don't pile up again.
Yeah, yes. I know for a fact, in the 6th district, we are plagued with a lot of RVs just abandoned on the side of the street in front of residents' homes, in alleys. I had a small boat that stayed in the alley of what was that, 43rd, right off of is that Cleveland? No, Harrison. Yeah, and it stayed there for almost a year and a half. So just sat there. Clearly, you can drive by it on passing cars. And one thing I had a brief meeting with some people to discuss the corridors of the 6th district, which are very important to myself and the city. And I said, when you drive down Broadway, when you drive down these corridors, what is the first thing that catches your eye? And the first thing people say is, oh, I don't know what catches your eye. What catches my eye is the blight, the graffiti, the boats, the cars, the RVs that are left behind. That's what catches my eye. Then I see the commercial structures. I would like to notice the commercial structures instead of the blight. You are part of the solution to the blight. So we need to sit down and come together and figure out why we continue having these situations take its place. Yes, sir. Go to the mic, sir, please. Yeah, turn it on.
Press the button. There you go.
Thank you.
Tom Breeze, Republic Towing, Gary. So my company's been doing this for a long time. My family, third generation, been doing this for 99 years, actually. This is not a unique problem. Back when the police had the COP programs, we had a handle on the junk cars. When we did COP towing, every tower had his own district that we took care of. The COP cops were towing all the junk vehicles, and they were towed to the appropriate tow companies for that section. We don't have that anymore. We don't have a COP program. We don't have a code enforcement program. It's sporadic at best when they tow a vehicle. This city is plagued with junk cars. You go anywhere and everywhere, there's junk cars. It's gotten out of control because we haven't had a code enforcement or a COP program. We used to tow about 500 or 600 cars a year under the COP program, just the junk cars. You had dedicated officers, that's what they did in their areas that they were responsible for. That needs to come back. The second thing is that I believe that the demolition department, general services, needs to be directly involved in disposing of these articles, the boats, the RVs, whatever, just like they do when they do houses. It should be the same kind of program. There's no way a towing company can do what you're asking as far as dispose of these vehicles. It just can't happen. So that's my answer is COP program, code enforcement, get rid of the junk cars. But as far as getting these RVs and stuff and these boats disposed of, it's got to lie on general services. They have the tools, the equipment, the dumpsters, the dump trucks, and the manpower and the expertise to do this. That's all.
Excuse me, sir, just a quick question for you. Do you tow in other communities?
Well, we tow for the sheriff's department all over Lake County.
All over Lake County? Do you run across boats, RVs, in trailers in those communities?
No. Lake County Sheriff's Department mainly does traffic stops, and that's what they concentrate on.
Okay. When you say the General Service Department is best fit for that type of disposal, is that based on what? Why do you base it?
Well, they have excavators, they have payloaders, they have grappling hooks that can munch up fiberglass and RVs and put them in dumpsters, roll-off boxes, dump trucks, and dispose of them just like they do when they demo a house.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Councilman. So last year, the city of Gary, the police department, code enforcement, we towed 2,608 vehicles last year. We are towing. We're towing with our COP, with our code enforcement division here, and the police department at whole is towing. We towed 2,608 vehicles last year. So that's quite a few. We also have a code enforcement division that goes out. Chief.
Derek Cannon, Chief of Police. I didn't want to interrupt the Deputy Chief, but the numbers is actually 3,000. That's also when we had 275 police officers to be able to handle those type of responsibilities. I think that a lot of times the frustration in the police department, I'm sorry for being tardy for the meeting, is when the rotation is in place, we call a tow truck company and then they inquire about the type of vehicle it is, and then they end up passing to the next tow truck company. And so those are some of the issues that we have, is just the response part of it.
Attorney Williams, can we discuss the rates for the towing companies?
Well, it's not an issue of mine, but in full disclosure, and I've always declared this, I'll do it again. In the past, I have represented S&S Towing on other matters. So while I don't believe this to be a conflict, I'm not participating in a vote. I want to disclose that so there's no discrepancy there. I am aware in the past, all parties declared that our rate was the lowest of all communities. I don't know the specifics of that, and I definitely don't want to take the lead in having that conversation, given at least the appearance of an impropriety, given my past relationship with S&S Towing. So for that reason, I'll defer on that.
So we will be hosting a committee meeting to look at those rates and determine if an increase is necessary. Chief, do you feel that we have enough towing companies for this situation?
As the chief spoke with the rotation, I don't know if it's a number of tow companies or the way that we're doing it. Like Mr. Tom said from Republic Towing, since we're in the rotation, what the officer has to do is call for a tow company, wait for the rotation, then his next tow he has to call again, or they rotate them. You could be within 2 blocks and do 3 tows and get 3 different companies. I don't know if that's efficient for anybody to do that, but it's not our position to decide the efficiency of it. We just want to make it efficient for the officers so we can get them back to work, and also so that they can tow the vehicle and just get it off the street.
So as far as the rotating situation, how we handle it with the companies, is that working fairly well, or?
You would have to ask them.
Yes, sir.
The rotation list used to be for years that everyone had districts and they only towed in their own district. So it was decided that for transparency reasons, we would go to rotation lists and it would fairn up everything. So not one tow company was being fed cars or whatever, okay? Towing rotation was the best thing that ever happened, I believe. It made everything fair, and next man up, whether it was an accident or whatever, you handled it, okay? Since the last meeting when we had a problem with not answering calls, whatever, with the boats, whatever, that's been cured. I've instructed my drivers, if they get a call, whatever, I don't care what it is, at least get it off the street. If it can't be towed away, get it off the street. We'll deal with it in the morning. That's been rectified, 100% in my company. So as far as rotation lists, I don't think the officers were waiting for tow trucks, not on my company anyway. We get there within 20 minutes, no problem. 30 minutes if there's weather. But rotation does work.
Sorry, sir, just a quick question for you. In an effort to do some more due diligence, I wanted to circle back to the issue of the boats and RVs classified as heavy tows. Are you familiar with any company outside of what you expressed with City of Gary disposing of these vehicles that can actually and effectively discard these vehicles?
So I don't know of anybody that would do the amount of RV, boats, and jet skis being dumped that we deal with here.
Really?
I don't think anybody does.
Okay.
And make no mistake, we're not getting just stuff that's out of Gary. People from other towns are dumping here. We've seen it many, many times. They'll drag a boat down Clay Street on a trailer, unhitch, give it a jerk, drop it in the street, and they go back to wherever they go. That does happen.
Okay, so it seems as though if we do not know of any entities nearby, exploratory in our next committee meeting in that regard, if we are unsuccessful in that, then perhaps in-house, as you stated, and see if, what we can do in that regard to mediate this issue. But I appreciate your insight, sir. Thank you.
Sure.
Benny's Towing, can you step up?
Well, my name is Kay Williams from Benny's Towing. I think we had this conversation last year about this boats and RVs, and I think I agreed to find a way to get rid of those vehicles for the city. I never got a call. The deputy, who was that? Not the deputy, but the city attorney had me remove boats and RVs from, what's the old vehicle maintenance location? Yeah, I got it done. And all I'm asking is maybe we can come back in another month, maybe we can figure something out, okay? Let me think on it, let me see if we can come up with something. But I do need another month, okay? Thank you.
Is there any other towing company that would like to make a quick statement? If not,
my name's Tom Stefaniak with Herrera's Recovery LLC. I was just wondering if there's plans to let out bids in the near future.
well, that's another part of this meeting, so we're gonna have another session, another committee meeting based off of this, and then we'll see if we need those bids.
On your graffiti removal stuff, I've got some ideas. I used to do it in Hammond, and then we contracted with another municipality back in the 90s.
Okay?
It requires the passing of an ordinance usually. Last time we did it for municipality, we got an ordinance passed that says you post notice. You give it a certain amount of time. If the people don't respond, we got the authority from the city to go and clean it.
Are you using water blasters or sand?
Mainly, last time we did it, it was paint, but it was attempted to match as close to the color as you could, so you weren't creating a canvas for somebody to come tag it again. But it was pretty successful last time we did that. And then I did it when I worked for the city of Hammond. We did have a water blaster. We did have paint matching equipment.
Thank you. All right, so as I said earlier, to address these issues of, with the challenges we're facing right now with heavy towing, the city did agree, and then we have stored those individual properties, those individual items, I should say, at 11th and Madison. We are currently, I would like to say it would be helpful, just from talking to our police department, it would be helpful to have the city contract with a second tow company for heavy tows that would take boats and RVs and dispose of them. But we're gonna discuss that after, Benny, after we have our meeting, okay? So, is it?
The question was, how much time do the city have? We're currently in violation as stated, but IDEM has given us time, the Department of Environmental Management has given us time. They didn't put a deadline on it. They're just asking, what is our plan? We have to talk about and discuss a plan, and give them a reasonable expectation. They've been very reasonable, all of 2024. And again, by no fault, and I appreciate that back history, that many of us were not present, in 2023.
Can a representative from S&S Towing take the mic for a quick second? No one's here still, huh? Okay. Here is? Okay, great. You represent S&S Towing? Yes. Great, great. Can someone take the mic really quick, step to the mic, to the podium? Sorry, I'm late. Okay, okay. Well, let's catch you up to speed. You guys are contracted to pick up the RVs and the heavy towing, correct?
Heavy towing, yes.
And you've been taking that to 900 Madison?
You talking about as far as the RVs go?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you capable of disposing of any of those materials?
Of disposing RVs and boats?
Boats, anything like
No.
that? No? Okay. All right. All right, so to bring you up to speed, sir, we are going to have a second committee meeting. We're going to have a conversation with Benny Towing. He says that he is capable to help us with this situation. Okay. So we'll be bringing you guys back for a second meeting. We are going to look for a second company to assist with the heavy towing.
Is there a specific reason why?
We just feel that it might be necessary. So we haven't, that's not a solid yet, but we are looking at it. Okay?
Okay.
Do you have any concerns with that, a second company coming on board?
I don't see a need for a second company. I mean, we've been towing solo heavy duty for the city for well over 10 years. Can't think of many incidents that we've ever had. And honestly, just the kind of vibe of trucks that we do, I don't think is a reason for a second company.
Okay.
But to be honest,
All right. We've had some concerns about the tow yard located at 3651 West 4th Avenue, which is your yard, correct?
okay?
Yeah. Is there any way you could make that yard mirror the yard that you have located in East Chicago?
Well,
In other words, could you make it neater? Could you clean up the appearance?
You would like us to clean up the appearance of it?
Yes.
Yeah, but whatever specific concerns you have, if you let me know what you need to get taken care of, we can get them taken care of.
All right. Any other questions for them? Chief, anyone?
I do. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. Thank you for your follow-up. Now, you stated you cannot dispose of these vehicles, the RVs and the boats, correct?
Yeah, normally for boats and RVs, because of the material it's made of.
Yep.
It's
Fiberglass hazard
Yeah, it's
material.
nothing that you can dispose of in-house.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it would be more finding a facility or something that can handle it.
Are you familiar with any facility that deals with those hazardous materials?
Not offhand outside of the local dumps. Whether it's Waste Management, Allied, whoever has a transfer station type yard, there would
Okay.
have to be an arrangement that would have to be made with those companies, which I'm not familiar with. But I would assume that, it would be just compiling the trash and set up an account with them to dispose of it.
Okay, so local distribution, gotcha. Waste management. Okay, I'll do some follow-up in that regard and see what that would take, if that's even possible. But I appreciate your input.
All right?
Thank you.
I understand, is it your father? He's ill? Someone's in the hospital?
In the hospital? No.
No? Oh, okay, I thought that was.
Oh, yeah, that was a couple weeks back, yeah. Yeah, he's doing fine at the moment. Yeah.
Wish him the best of health.
Thank you. Appreciate
Okay.
that.
All right. Are there any more questions from the panel? Please come to the mic.
There was some word about when a tower gets called that he tries to find out what it is and doesn't want to take that call. The reason why when radio calls us, dispatch, we ask what kind of vehicle, what's going on, because we want to know what type of equipment to take out there so that the officers aren't sitting out there waiting for a flatbed that we didn't take a flatbed to. It's not that we are picking and choosing the calls that we're going on. That doesn't happen. Not with my company anyway. But that's why we ask questions. Sometimes the 911 operators get a little frustrated. Well, why are you asking this, blah, blah, blah. Well, we're just trying to get the right truck out there. That's all we're doing. So that I just wanted to follow up on what that was said. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for clarifying that.
Okay, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. We will set the second meeting, the next meeting, to discuss possibilities of these items, as well as to discuss the fact that we need to bring in additional towing. It is 5:45 or 5, let's take that back, 5:37, all right? And I'm going to end this meeting. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you at the next meeting.